Hello friends, welcome once again. I would like to remind you that I'm just studying the um, Vajiram and Ravi notes of post-independent issues. This is the topic of GS paper 1. So I'll continue now. So we are going to read now challenges facing independent India. India does not seem like one country. Yes, India does not seem like one country. There is a lot of diversity in India. Yet there is a resilience about India, which seems an assurance of survival. There is something which can only be described as an Indian spirit. A British journalist in 1969. A British journalist in 1969 said that there is a resilience. Though India doesn't seem like one country, there is resilience in India, about India, which seems an assurance of survival. Okay, so there are a lot of vociferous tendencies nowadays, also like communalism, or some ideological differences between the parties, between the people, and the casteism, regionalism. Okay, so yet we can say that there is something resilience about India, which is like an assurance of survival. Though we should not be assured about it, we should keep on doing for the nation building in our own capacity. So next, India an unnatural nation. India an unnatural nation. Yes, a puzzle for political scientists. Why India is an unnatural nation? Because India has a lot of diversity. There is, what is nation? Nation has to have something in common which binds the people inside the geographical unit to to make it a nation. So India has nothing or very few things. Our Indians have nothing or very few things in common. Commons like cricket. Yeah, we can unite on the basis of cricket, but we cannot unite on the basis of language, region, religion, whatever. Okay, so that's why India is called an unnatural nation, a puzzle for political scientists. India merely a level of convenience. So this is a this is the question: is India merely a level of convenience? So according to Sir John Strachey, a British intellectual student in 19th century, India was merely a level of convenience. He said India was merely a level of convenience, a name given to a great region including different countries. In his views, there was no Indian nation or country in the past, nor would. Okay, there was no Indian nation or country in the past, nor would. So yeah, this is the British school of thought. That India was not a country, India was not a nation, it was a nation of nations, and it is them who made India, who tried to made India a nation by the help of the modern scientific discovery. Achievements like railways, telegraphs, something, communication. Next, but he was not only the one. He was not only the one who said India was a level of convenience, as there was many other skeptics who believed that only British rule that had held India and Indians together, and chaos would prevail if British left India. Yeah, they are, I mean, we can say, by looking at the today's scenarios, and even throughout the 70 years since independence, many obituaries were written speculating how long it would stay united, maintain the institution of the democracy. With every secessionist movement, the disappearance of India as a single entity is predicted. With every secessionist movement, the disappearance of India as a single entity is predicted. With every death of a prime minister, every death of a prime minister has been predicted the replacement of a democracy by military rule. After every failure of monsoon, there has been anticipated countrywide famine. So they were having extreme level of negativity about India. Yes, they were true to some extent, but all is not bad in India. Yes, there is something called Indian spirit, which binds us together. I mean, you can say the when you saw the death of our CDS, when he got killed in the helicopter crash. You saw the Tamil people, they were chanting something in Tamil there, which means they were we can say that that whole nation was experiencing the grief of that helicopter crash. There are, if India wins World Cup, whole nation got jubilated. You can see the, remember the, jubilation after 2011 World Cup. So these British school of thought and Britishers, used to have, British used to paint the all negative picture of India. So now next, India as a laboratory of social conflicts. Okay, India as a laboratory of social conflicts. It is because, according to political scientists, India is far too diverse to persist as a nation and much too poor, far too diverse and much too poor to endure it as a democracy. According to them, cultural heterogeneity uh, and poverty do not make a democratic nation. The story of India is a story of social conflicts which runs along many axes. These axes of social conflicts are as follows. What are the social conflicts? Caste, we can see nowadays also. Language, yes. Religion, yes. Class, yes. Gender, yes. But these, social divisions have been, uh, coming, getting, weaker as the nation is getting matured. Our India is getting matured by the time. Uh, so, how caste is playing the role. First, there is caste, a principal identity of many Indians, defining whom they might marry, associate with, and fight against. Second, language. The Constitution of India recognizes 22 languages as official. Naturally, national unity and linguistic diversity have not always been seen to be compatible. Next, religion. A vast majority of billion plus Indians are Hindus, but India also has the third largest population of Muslims in the world after Indonesia and Pakistan. In addition, there are substantial number of Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, and Jains. Okay, class. There are Indian entrepreneurs who are fabulously wealthy, owning uh, huge homes in London and New York. Yet millions live below the official poverty line with deep inequalities in landholding. Yes, you can see the inequality index. Um, Gender, and the fifth major axis of conflict is gender, which cut across all other axes. A woman served as prime minister for a full 15 years, yet in some parts of India, female infanticide is still very common. Yeah, it used to be common. It may be common today nowadays in some places, but if you see the latest report of National Family Health Survey, we have got the positive or good, that sex ratio. Now women are more than men. Landless laborers are paid meager wages, with women getting the lowest. Yes, you can observe that. Low caste faces social stigma. Yes, women among them most of all. Yeah, and the holy men of each religion tend to assign their women as inferior position in both this world and the next. Yes. So what did we uh, studied? Challenges facing independent India. India does not seem like one country. Yes, India does not seem like one country at the time. Yes, it yet there was something resilience about India, which seems an insurance of survival. And it can only be described as Indian spirit. Who said that? British journalist in 1969. India, an unnatural nation. Is India merely a level of convenience? John Strachey, he says so, that India, in his views, India was no Indian nation. There was no Indian nation or country in the past, and there would not be any Indian nation in the future also. But he was not the only one. British uh, skeptics who believed that only British rule held India and Indians together, and chaos would prevail if British left India. And even throughout the 70 years of independence, many obituaries, that the obituaries are the things which we write after the death, no, for the people, for the person who died, speculating how long it will stay united and maintain the institution of democracy. With every new secessionist movement, disappearance of India as a single entity is predicted, and with every death of a prime minister has been predicted the replacement of democracy by military rule. After every failure of monsoon, there has been anticipated countrywide famine. India as a laboratory of social conflict. It is because, according to political scientists, India is far too diverse to persist as a nation. Far too diverse and much too poor. And according to them, cultural heterogeneity and poverty do not make a democratic nation. What is demo? If you want to understand this underline that cultural heterogeneity and poverty do not make a democratic nation. Why? Let us try to understand this. Because what is democracy? It is like it is a democracy in which the uh, power, in which the people are sovereign, people are free to take decisions, people are have a lot of freedom, and people, in terms of political context, you know, the people will people are the sovereign. So if people are sovereign and that people are poor and they are different from each other, then they will definitely or naturally or logically fight with each other for the lesser resources they are competing for, and it will endanger the democracy. If they will compete for the lesser resources, they will, the person who is having the higher or larger resources will definitely want to be to be uh, to get away from the person who is poor, or the person who is poor, uh, he will also want to get away from the rich, thinking that by getting away he will improve his situation. So that's why they were saying that cultural heterogeneity and poverty do not make a democratic nation. The story of India is a story of social conflicts which run along many axes. These axes of social conflicts are caste, language, religion, caste, class, gender. Okay, comparison of India and Europe and India. Comparison of Europe and India in Strachey's views. Whose view? Strachey's view, who told India is a level of convenience. Okay, the differences between countries of Europe and countries of Europe were much smaller than those between the countries of India. Okay, Scotland is more like Spain. Scotland is more like Spain. Bengal is like Punjab. Scotland is more like Spain. Bengal is like Punjab. Okay, Scotland is more like Spain than Bengal is like Punjab. Yeah, he's saying right. Yeah, I've been to the Spain, and I mean, they, you know, if you go to Europe, no, you will see very less differences between them. There may be differences of the person who speaks what language, you know. But more or less, since they have the good level of literacy and they are more matured democratically. So and they know a lot of language also there, you know. So there are very lot lesser differences between the people there. And in here in India, you can see one village is different than the other village also. So here Bengal is like Punjab. Bengal is very dissimilar to Punjab. You know. As a laboratory of social conflict, a comparison between India of 20th century and Europe of 19th century is quite interesting. India of 20th century and Europe of 19th century is quite interesting. Similarities in both. Conflicts were produced by two transformative processes of social change: industrialization and the making of modern nation states. The conflicts did occur. Why? Because of the two transformative processes, occurred in these two parts of the world. You know, what are those transformative processes? Industrialization and making of modern nation states. Differences, however, in India the scope for conflict has been ever greater. Yes, because of the diversity of competing groups across religion, caste, class, language. Contemporary like contemporary India, unlike 19th century Europe, is a democracy based on adult suffrage with a free press, judiciary. Thus the conflict are vigorously articulated. Yes, you see, in India there is adult suffrage. Everybody can vote, even if he's rich, poor, or illiterate or literate. If if he is a criminal also, or if he is a history sheeter, he can also vote. You know, if he is a communal, he can also vote. If he, I mean, there is no, but in Europe they gave the right to vote in a phased manner. So if you give all the rights to everybody, then everybody will exercise his rights according to his or her intellect. So the chances of conflicts within them uh, uh, coming to the surface are higher in the societies like India, which is very diverse. So how did independent India respond to these challenges? How did, this is very interesting, this should be very interesting, how did independent independent India respond to these challenges. Everyone these days talks about India's economic success, which is really an achievement. However, this success story of modern India does not lie in the domain of economics. Does not lie in the domain of economics, as we do not whether it will lead to a prosperity among the masses. So everybody is thinking that everybody is thinking that India's success is mainly economic, is due to mainly economic success, but it is not totally lies in the domain of economic. You know, so real success lies in the domain of politics. Given various axes of social conflicts, India was treated as a dictatorship during the entire first 50 years of independence. Okay, but India is still a single nation. It is still largely democratic. This is our biggest achievement. Yeah, you see, the real success lies in the domain of politics. You see, the person who got elected just recently in the bypolls, Lok Sabha bypolls, from constituency in Punjab, and he openly propagates the sovereignty of a group of people. But this is a wonder of democracy, that people like these also find their voice in the parliament and they are given chance. So this things will tend to lower down the friction among the communities. Yeah. Next, independent India embarked upon its task with the following benefit: presence of an outstanding leadership. Our first generation political leaders like Nehru, Patel, Ambedkar, Rajagopalachari, and their likes were persons of integrity. Yeah. So this is the word of ethics. They were the persons of integrity, led an austere life, the life which is away from the pomp and show, and commanded great respect among people. Yes, they it is natural that they will command the great respect, because they were the people who were the freedom fighters, and they had the mass support also, and they led India to the freedom. Among many, they led India to freedom. So they commanded great respect among the people. They also had the skill and experience to run a modern democratic political and administrative system. Yes, they had the skill. Why? Because Congress fought, uh, 2 or 3 elections. For example, 1937, 23 something, and 46. So they had the fair experience of running a political and administrative system, which they had acquired by organizing mass movements and participating in the colonial legislature, executive councils during the British Raj. Yeah. Presence of Congress in initial years is strong, representative, and democratically functioning India-wide party. Yes, Congress was not used to be the party like it is now. Congress was right now. Many parties, got away, from the Congress. Congress used to be the encompassing party. Every ideology used to be found. Used to find We can find every kind of ideologies in the Congress. So Congress was truly a representative party at the time. Presence of Congress in initial year is strong, representative, and democratically functioning India-wide party. Yeah, it commanded strong support among almost all sections of Indian society in the initial years. Yeah, institutions, strong public institution and service left by British, such as Indian Civil Services, Judicial, Medical, Railway, Public Works Department. Yeah, yeah, we have to give credit to the Indian civil servants. People sometimes make derogatory remarks if about the civil servants. As a whole, when they find the news that somebody get arrested for corruption or what. But this is just a small thing. Many civil servants are doing a lot of good job. Out of the light. They never get the chance. They never get the share of their appreciation from the public, and they just keep on doing the work. They get retired and they die. They die after that. Nobody knew them. So we have to salute the Indian civil servants. In every field. Public servants, you can say, not only civil servant, public servant. Public servant, like everyone who is a government official, public servant, like judicial, medical, railway, public works department, and they are doing it, they are doing it with far lesser resources what their compatriots are getting in other countries. They have to adjust to each and everything, so you have to give respect to them. All this ensured that India was able to tackle the various challenges, immediate to long term, with success. Let's have a look at the challenges facing independent India. So yes, challenges facing, now we'll see the summary. Challenges facing independent India, immediate and short-term challenges. Integration of princely states into the Indian India. This was a legacy challenge, like integration of princely states and communal rights. Yeah, provide rehabilitation of to create more than 6 million refugees who migrated from Pakistan. 60 lakhs, huh? 10 to 20 lakhs got killed, huh? During migration. 60 lakhs, approximately more than 60 lakhs came to India. So yeah, needs to take steps to avoid war with Pakistan. Yeah, communal tensions were running high at the time. Take communist insurgents, tackle communist insurgency. We were having the communist insurgency there also, no, in Telangana. Medium-term challenges: frame a new constitution and conduct elections to put in place. Frame a new constitution and conduct elections to put in place elected governments at center and state. Yes, that was a medium-term challenge. Frame constitution and put elected government. Develop independent foreign policy. Yes, this was at most necessary. Initiate planning process. Yes, this was necessary. Enact land reforms. Yes. Long-term challenge: consolidation of India. Main thing: consolidation of India as a nation that is united and yet accommodative of its diversity. Rapid socio-economic development of all sections of society. Yes. Implement constitution in letter and spirit. So yes, that is, we will do good if we do not, try to, cram that thing that this is immediate, short term, this is medium, this is long term. We can, we can go with the flow, and with our logic, that what can be the short term challenges at the time, at the time of independence. Integration of princely states, communal rights were happening, so we have to regulate the people also. We have to avoid the war with Pakistan. Avoid the war with Pakistan is not the short term challenge, it's a long term challenge also. Pakistan has got nuclear right now, so we have to avoid war with Pakistan. Tackle communist insurgency. It is also, like a left wing insurgency right now. We are still grappling with the left wing insurgency. Medium term challenge, frame a new constitution. Yes. Independent foreign policy, develop independent foreign policy, initiate planning process, enact land reforms. Long term challenge: consolidation of India as a nation, rapid socio-economic development. Yeah, this is a long and slow process, we have to do that. Independent constitution, implement constitution in letter and spirit. First make constitution, then implement it. Note to readers: comment on some of the immediate challenges that has been provided here. Rest challenges have been dealt separately in various chapters. We have already done. Communalism. What we'll read now? Communalism. Okay, then yeah, communalism. So there was greater danger that the wounds of partition may refuse to heal, and the communal rights may linger on, promoting hatred in the society. Yes, it was a great danger. Communalism was the Indian version of fascism. Communism was the Indian version of fascism. Even many Congress leaders came under its influence, but the top leadership remained committed to secularism and integration of the nation. It was on the grounds of checking communalism. That Nehru got the constitution amended and inserted reasonable restrictions on the fundamental rights to freedom of speech. Yes, you see, Article 19, we have the reasonable restrictions. Article 19, clause 2, we have the reasonable restriction. Nobody can tell anything, no? Yes, you have the freedom of speech and expression, but you cannot tell everything and anything which will, which will be danger to the integrity, sovereignty of the country, or which will harm the other person. After the killing of Gandhi, realizing this, that RSS was spreading communalism and is probably behind the assassination of Gandhi, Nehru got RSS banned, but Patel in 1949 got the ban revoked on the guarantee that RSS would refrain from any involvement in politics. Okay, communist insurgency. What are we reading? Short-term challenges: communalism. Now communist insurgency. Then we will read relations with Pakistan. Then we will finish this session. Communist insurgency. Success of communists in Hyderabad, Telangana agitation, encouraged them to think of a countrywide peasant revolution. In 1948, CPI proclaimed the beginning of general revolution. CPI proclaimed beginning of general revolution in India as it branded Nehru as an agent of imperialist and feudal forces. Yeah, communists at the time did not, did not accept that India has got freedom. They just they were saying that India had the transfer of power from British to the elites. Okay, and Nehru was appalled, but he resisted banning CPI. Nehru didn't ban CPI until it was impossible for him to not to do so. Still, he banned it only in Bengal and Madras, where it was the most active. He believed that the best way to combat communist was to bring the fruits of development to the people. As soon as the CPI gave up its program of waging an armed struggle and accepted parliamentary process, Nehru revoked the ban everywhere. Okay, communist insurgency. Now, relation with Pakistan. 55 crore. Even after Kashmir complications in January 1948, Government of India decided to pay Pakistan rupees 55 crore as a part of partition plan, even though that money could be used against India in Kashmir. Property claims. Pakistan also ridiculously laid claims on the property of migrants who had fled to Pakistan, leaving their land and property in India. Such issues were resolved by negotiations. Minorities. Pakistan is Pakistan. They can do anything. Minorities. After partition, minorities in Pakistan, especially Hindus in East Pakistan, were subject to communal hatred, which led to the steady inflow of refugees in India. They were there were calls for armed intervention, which Nehru ignored. Liaquat Nehru Pact. When? 1950, Delhi Pact. In this background, the Liaquat Nehru Pact was signed in New Delhi by the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and the Pakistan's Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan in 1950 to avoid another war. Under this, refugees were allowed to return unmolested to dispose their property. Abducted women and looted property were to be returned. Forced conversion were unrecognized and monetary rights were confirmed. See the problem. See, abducted women. The level of the number of women was abducted in so high that they had the clause that abducted women and looted property were to be returned. Refugees were allowed to return. Why? To dispose their property. Forced conversions were unrecognized. Monetary rights were confirmed. Water. Another source of tension was the sharing of Indus Water River. For this, India showed generosity and signed the Indus Water Treaty in 1960 under the auspices of World Bank. Yes. So, yes, now we'll revise what have we read. Challenges facing independent India. People were saying India was not a nation, but there was some resilience. Who said? British journalist. Stachi said India is a level of convenience. Okay, we saw after every secessionist movement, they were saying that India will disappear. After death of every prime minister, they'll say military rule will come. After every failure of monsoon, they'll say that famine will come. India as a laboratory of social conflict. Yeah, India was far too diverse and much too poor, and that's why they were very they were too much in doubt about India being continue to remain a democratic nation. Cultural heterogeneity and poverty. The story of India is a story of social conflicts which run along many axes. The axis of social conflicts. What were the axes of social conflicts? On the basis of caste, they were fighting. On the basis of language, they were fighting. On the basis of religion, they were fighting. On the basis of class, they were fighting. On the basis of gender, they were not fighting, but because one other side was not too strong, but one was suffering too much. Women were not that strong. Nowadays, women are very strong. They are fighting for their rights. So it was not that much. Only few women or very less. Comparison of Europe and India. Stachi view. Stachi. Who is Stachi? Who said India is a level of convenience? He says that Scotland is more like Spain than Bengal is like Punjab. He was right. As a laboratory of social conflict, he made comparison between India of 20th century and the Europe of 19th century. Similarities, two disruptive things, conflicts were increased by two disruptive things, industrialization and making modern nation states, and differences. The scope of conflict in India was far greater because of too much diversity, religion, caste, class, language, and because of the democracy, conflict are vigorously articulated in India. So how did independent India respond to these challenges? More democracy. The real success lies in the domain of politics. They increased the they provided more democracy. You know, so but other points are other things which led to the success of India being a democratic nation. Outstanding leadership, who were secular and who were the people of integrity. Integrity means those who uh, cling to cling to their values. They do not uh, run away from their values from the fear of out of the fear of some adverse circumstances. They are said to be men of or people of integrity. They used to lead of austere life. They were not very what we call the greedy or something, personal ambitions. They were not having personal ambitions, our leaders. And they also had the skill. They were the skillful people because they fought with the they were the mass leaders, no, so they knew that uh, how to handle the people. And presence of Congress was a India-wide party, India-wide party. So and people have respect for the Congress at that time. Institutions, the British left some strong institutions after they went, uh, like judiciary, medical, railway, public works department. Challenges: short term, medium term, long term. Short term, about princely states, communal rights, rehabilitation of refugees, avoid war with Pakistan, common insurgency. Medium term challenges: new constitution, frame a new constitution, independent foreign policy, initiate planning, enact land reforms. Long term challenges: consolidation of India as a nation, rapid socio-economic development, constitution letter and spirit, implement constitution letter and spirit. Communism, you see, communism, RSS was banned, and that communist insurgency, communist this CPI was also banned in that Bengal and Madras for some time. Relationship with Pakistan, we gave 55 crores property claims. The issue about property claims were, you know, resolved after some negotiations. Minorities. So for the sake of minorities, Lehru-Niagat Pact was signed 1950. For water, Indus Water Treaty 1960. Okay, what did they agree for in the Nehru-Liaquat Pact? Dispose of the property. They will allow the refugees to return to restore the property. They will return the abducted women and looted property. Forced conversions were derecognized, unrecognized. Minority rights were confirmed. Okay, finish. Thank you.